Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will see the Data Analyst Portfolio SQL project for beginners. And in this project, we will be testing the Tableau and Power BI reports by using SQL queries or SQL queries. And in the database which we will be using in this particular project will be PostgreSQL. And I will help you on how to install this particular database from start to end. So not to worry about that. And in this particular project, we will be testing one Power BI and one Tableau report or dashboard. And so SQL is the most important skill which you must know if you are working as a data analyst or a Tableau or Power BI developer. Okay. So why we use SQL? SQL is mainly used to interact with our database. In this case, it will be PostgreSQL database. So SQL is a language which will be used to, modify the data or update the data, extract the data from that particular database. Okay, run some scenarios. Okay, get the data. It is also used to insert the data in the database. It will be also used to, delete some data if you want to from that particular database. So it is a very powerful language and it is mostly used in many industries wherever you are using some databases, and it will be used from developers to testers. Everybody use SQLs. Okay, and it is a must skill in today's current scenario. Next, it is very much important for Tableau or Power BI developer, because as a developer, you will be building the reports, you will be building the dashboards, but to test or to validate those dashboards, you must know SQL. Okay, because in many industries there are not dedicated QAs who will be testing your reports. It is the Tableau developer or a Power BI developer himself who have to work on some SQL queries and have to test your reports. Or before even building the reports, he have to work on some SQL queries where he will prepare some views, some materialized views, which he will import in Tableau and then prepare those dashboards. Or he also have to clean some data by using SQL, which is a role for ETL developer as well. Okay, so SQL is must for Tableau and data analyst also. Okay, the next one is SQL developer. Obviously, if you're working as an SQL developer, you must know SQL, how to use SQL, and it should be at advanced level. Okay, and next is the ETL developer. ETL developer is nothing but wherever you are working in on a ETL tool, or where you have to clean some data. Okay, so it will be done by SQL, and in that case, you must know ETL SQL language. Okay. Next is for database administrators who will be handling the database. Obviously, they must know the SQL language as well. Okay, so this will be beneficial for these few peoples, and there are many more as well who will be using SQL data or we can say SQL language in their day-to-day work life. Okay, so the next one which we will be seeing today is we will be testing two reports, and if you can see here, one is the HR analytics dashboard which is prepared in Tableau, and the same dashboard is prepared in Power BI. Okay, if you want, if you are interested on like how these dashboards are actually prepared, so I have already prepared some videos on this. You can go ahead and watch them. I will add the link in the description of this video. You can watch this particular development of these dashboards as well. So in this video we will be testing this both the reports. You can see they are almost similar, so whatever queries we will be writing, it will be same for this particular two dashboards. So people who are working as an Power BI or a Tableau developer, they will be beneficial with this particular video, and they can relate with their work life as well, and they will be, or who are trying as a beginner, they can work, or they, by using this project, they can be very much confident on how to use SQLs, and they can add this particular project in their portfolio as well. Okay, so moving ahead, so what is the objective of today's project? Okay, so mainly it is the QA testing, that is testing of the reports which I previously shown you. And in this, what we will be doing is we will be creating a database in PostgreSQL. I will show you how to do that. And we will write some SQL queries and create a test document to QA the HR analytics dashboard developed in Tableau Desktop and Power BI software. Okay, so this is the main objective. And in there, we will be doing functional validation. So in this, we will be testing each feature as per our requirement, which we have got from our client, and to verify all the filters and action filters on the report, right? So whether all the filters are working as per the requirement on Tableau. So functional validation is nothing but whether that particular report or particular dashboard is functioning correctly. Okay, means all the filters are correctly working, they are connected to each worksheet, all the quick filters are working or not. Okay, The next one is data validation. So this is the main part which we will be focused on today. That is to check the accuracy and the quality of the data. Okay, so whatever values we are showing in Tableau, we can't rely on them and directly show them to our customer. First we have to validate those whether it is correct, and that is done by using SQL queries which are fired to that particular database. The data is extracted from that database and it will give us the results, and that results are compared with the results or the data which we are showing in our Tableau reports. Okay, so we will be matching our value in Tableau and Power BI reports, and this will be done by using SQL query. So this is the most important part. And the next part is also important, which is the test document. So after doing this functional and data validation, we have to create a test document which will contain some screenshots or some queries. And that document will be sent out to your manager, to your developer, or to your client that we have tested this particular what we can say project, and now you can go ahead and use that particular dashboard or report in your actual use or in production. Okay, so until and unless QA is done or testing is done, no project or no what we can say software or report is directly given to our client to work on. Okay, so QA is must and it is done before handing it over to our client. The next what we will be seeing is what skills you will learn in this particular project. So first we will be doing a functional validation, then data validation, then we will see how to install the PostgreSQL. I will show you how to create the database, how to insert the table into our database. We will be writing basic and advanced SQL queries also. And some of the functions which we will be seeing today is select, insert, copy, where, group by, order by, then some advanced like cross type, cast, then round, subqueries, and some data types also. We will work with some data types as well. Okay, and then we will create a professional test document which is actually done in real time industries, and this document will help you whenever you will be working in real time industry, or if you are working currently, you can modify or you can enhance your test document as well. So next what we will see is what you will gain from this particular project is, first thing is SQL skills. Okay, so you will be up to the mark with your SQL skills. You will enhance your SQL skills, which is very important as a data analyst. Then you will be also increase or you will enhance your developer and data analyst skills. Okay, the data analyst is the main important part here. You will have you will be enhance your QA skills, or you will gain some QA skills also, how QA is done on different reports. Then this particular all project can be added in your resume, which will increase or which will make your resume very much strong, because this complete portfolio will be there into your resume and it will be getting highlighted immediately. Okay, and then last, definitely you will get a job by using this particular or this type of particular projects. If you are using and adding it on your resume, definitely you will get a job, because SQL with developer or with Tableau developer is a great combination, and your industries will hire you immediately with this. Okay, so next we need to install the PostgreSQL. So you can open Google in your Chrome or any browser which you are using, and you can type PostgreSQL download. Then you will be getting this first link, which will be the official link from PostgreSQL. You just have to click on downloads. Okay, so this will be the new page which will be opened here, and you can see there are different operating systems depending upon yours, which you are using. You can go ahead and download that. So for me it is Windows, so I will just click on Windows here. So as soon as I click on Windows, there are different versions available here. Okay, so like right now it is 15 version, which is for 2019, or release is 2019 to 2016, I guess. And you can see this is the first link which you have here is download the installer. Okay, you have to click on this particular link. So as soon as I click on this particular link, you will be directed to the download a PostgreSQL page, and there are different versions available, so we'll be using the latest version. So currently it is having 15.2 as an version, and we are so for me it is Windows 64-bit. Okay, my operating system is Windows and it's 64-bit. So if it is a 32-bit, this particular versions will won't work, so you have to download this version, that is 10.23. So if it is a 64-bit, I will just click on this particular button and it will start downloading my what we can say uh, the PostgreSQL setup. So it is saying that your download should begin, and it has begin. So you can see it is downloading. So but I have already downloaded, so I will just pause this and I will cancel this. So I have already downloaded this. So you can see this is my setup which I have already downloaded. So what next you have to do is you have to just double click on this particular setup, and it will ask us you the permission if you want to install this. And you have to click on yes. Next thing, what it will ask some questions or what you have to install actually. All right. Okay, so you have to click here on next, and these are the different components which will be installed. So these all four are important for us. You can uncheck this tag builder. We don't want that, but for we will keep it as it is. So you just have to click on next. Okay, so for me it is saying that this SQL PostgreSQL is already installed in your computer, but so I will not install it again. So what you have to do is you have to click on next. Okay, and there will be few questions which will be asked where you want to do the setup, whether you want to do it in C drive or any other drive, and then it will ask you one what we can say uh, password, right? So that password is very important. Whenever you are entering that password, make sure that password is something you will be remembering in future, because that will be required whenever you are opening your pg admin setup. Okay, then it will asking you a port. That port should be 5432. Okay, it is a standard port for PostgreSQL. And at last it will ask, whenever this pg admin setup is completed, at last it will ask you whether you want to install this tag builder or not. So it is not necessary to install tag builder. You can just cancel, and once that setup is done, okay, so I will just abort this because I have already installed. So you can just search for pgadmin. Okay, so this is the pgadmin 4. You just have to click on this pgadmin 4 here. Okay, so it will take some time, and if you're not comfortable, or if you're not comfortable in this particular steps which I have mentioned, so there are many other videos available on YouTube how to install the pg admin. You can go and follow those as well. Okay, or I will add one particular link in our my description of this video also, how to install the pg admin. You can go ahead and watch that as well. Okay, so now it is taking some time to open the pg admin, so let's wait. Okay, so when you open your PG admin, so it will ask you an password, that is your master password, and this is this password is nothing but when you were doing the setup of this particular PG admin, it has asked you the one password. That is the same password which we will be using here. So I will just enter my password, and I will just hit on OK. Okay, so you can see this is the UI for PG admin, and at the left corner you can see there is a server over here. So you just have to drop down this. Okay, then it will ask you one more password. So the same password you have to enter again, the same password. Okay, so this is to access the servers on this particular PG admin. So you can see there is a database, and if you collapse this particular arrow button, you can see there is a by default database has been created, that is Postgres. Okay, so now I will show you our dashboards first. Okay, so this is our dashboard. And before doing our PG admin, so first thing which we have to do is a functional validation. Okay, so this is the Tableau dashboard. So I will tell you what does the functional validation means. Okay, so the functional validation is nothing but whatever you see in front of your dashboard, is this particular this particular HR analytics dashboards, if is this font correct as per our requirement document, if this font color is correct, if these chart types are correct. So this comes under functional. One more part comes is, you can see there is a one filter which I have used here. So whenever I am operating these filters, the values or the data must change with respect to that particular filter. Okay, so let's say I want only to see the data for high school. So whenever I'm clicking on high school, you can see the data is changing with respect to high school. Similarly, I want it to only see the education for master's degree. So you can see this particular filter is functioning correctly. So yep, so this is one functional validation which we have done. So then there are some action filters which are there. So you can see this is the department wise attrition. So whenever I'm clicking on this particular department, you can see the charts are changing with respect to that. So these are some action filters. Similarly, when I'm clicking on this particular bar charts, that is education field, the chart is changing with respect to it. Okay, so whenever I'm clicking on gender as well, so you can see the chart is changing with respect to that, and we are getting different values. Okay, so this is the functional validation. All right. So I will not spend much time on functional validation because we are more focused on data validation by using SQL queries. So this is the overview of functional validation which I have just told you. So it is nothing but your dashboard should be functioning correctly by different filters. The chart should be changing. If I click on this particular filter, and if you see that some of the charts are not changing with respect to this filter as per our requirement document, then you have to report this issue to your developer, and you have to ask him to fix this bug or fix this particular report. Okay, so in this way you have to act. Okay, the next thing what we have to do is I will go back to my pg admin. So now in this particular pg admin, we don't have any database created, we don't have any data added into this particular database. So we will see how to add the data, and how to create the database. So this, if this is the report, so this report is prepared with respect to some data, right? So that data only we have to import in our pg admin so that we can fire the SQL queries and we can test our data, all right, or we can test our report. So now I am back to our pg admin. So now what we will do, we will create a database first. So there are many ways to create a database. So I will just mention the simplest way to create our database. All right, so what you have to do here is, on PostgreSQL, you just have to right click here. Okay, once you right click, you have to go in create and you have to click on database. Okay, so it is asking us the name, what should be the name of our database. So I will name it as HR database. Okay, because we are testing HR data, or HR analytics report. You can give any name, okay, but it is very much relative. So I will make it as HR database. All other what we can say parameters, you don't have to touch it. So when you click on SQL, so what it does is it is creating that particular query automatically with respect to whatever we have mentioned over here. That is create database HR database. Okay, with owner, whatever, who is the owner of this particular database. So I will just come in general and I will just click on save. Okay, so you can see a HR database has been created. So if you collapse this, there will be different options available over here. So after creating a database, the next thing what we have to do is we have to import our table. The table is nothing but the dashboard which you can see in this particular Tableau or Power BI. This is the Tableau and this is the Power BI dashboard. So the dashboard which is been created, it has been created with respect to some data. Okay, so we have used some data to create this particular dashboards, this as well as this dashboard. So I will show you which is the data which we have created. So and the same data which the same data which has been used to create this dashboard, we will be using the same data to test our these reports using SQL queries. Okay, and the same table we have to import in our pg admin. So this is the table which is available for me and it is present in D drive. So I will just open this. So you can see this is the table which I have used. There are almost 15 columns are there and almost 1470 rows are there. So the what we will do is we will import this particular data into our PG admin. So now how to do that? Okay, I will go back to our PG admin. So once our database is created, there is one option called here as schema. So I will just drop down this schema, and when you go down there is an option called here as table. So I will just expand this, and currently you can see there is no table right now. So there are different ways to create the table. So I will show you how to create it using query. Okay, so I will just right click here and I will click on query tool. Okay, so this is, when you click on this is the UI which will be opened, where you can write the queries and you can fire the queries, and with respect to that you will get some results in this particular data output window. All right, so the query which we'll be using is, I will show you that particular query. Okay, so I will be using this query, so I've just copied it over here. I will just reduce this for now. Okay, so you can see this is the query which we will be using a table, that is create a table. This is the function which is used to create a table, that is create table. And this is the name of table. What should be the name of table? So for me, it should be HR data and open parenthesis. And you can see into our, what we can say into our data. So these are the fields which are there into this particular data, in this particular table. The same fields should be enter into our what we can say this particular query. So first is employee number. I have added it an employee number, and I have added as integer as an data type. Okay, so whatever you can see, first argument will be the name of that particular field which should be created, Then this is the data type of that field. It is nothing but integer 8. Integer 8 is nothing but up to 8 digits you can add that value for that particular field. And next is a primary key. Primary key is nothing but it should be a primary key into that table. It means that it should have a unique value for that particular what we can say column. Each row will have an unique value. There should be no duplicates. Okay, there should be no null present over there. Okay, that is what primary key means. The next is gender. Okay, the second column which you can see here is gender, which we are entering over here into our database. And the data type is character, that is nothing but varchar, and 50 is nothing but the length of that particular field or that particular value which we will be entering in gender. For example, you can see female is the gender. If you see male is of 4 characters, and which is within our particular length of character which we have specified, that is 50. And it should be not null. Okay, so not null is nothing but it is a constraint for us. Okay, primary key, not null, these are constraint for that particular column. Not null is nothing but it should be that particular column should not have any null value. Okay, you have to specify gender for that particular column. The next is marital status, that is nothing but varchar again. Then age band, again age is nothing but a numeric value, so I have added it as an integer. So in this way I have added all the columns, name of the column which we have in our data into here. And at last I have closed this parenthesis. Okay, next what you have to do is I will just increase that output window size, and I will just run this query. Okay, so you can see the create table query has been successfully ran or returned. And but now you can see in query the table is not visible here right now. So what you have to do is you have to just right click on table and you have to refresh this. Okay, once you refresh and when you take it down, you can see this particular HR data table has been created automatically. Okay, so now what I will do, I will just delete this query for because we have already created the table. The next is what I want to retrieve all the data from that particular new table which I have created, and let's see if there is any data into that table. So what I will hit is select star. Star is nothing but return everything, all the data from that particular table. Okay, from is the keyword. From where we have to determine, we have to take it from HR data. Okay, so this is the name of the table which we have entered. Okay, that is HR data. And I will just select this, or if you don't select this, or if you select this, doesn't matter, and you have to run it from here, or you can press F5. So as soon as I hit this, you can see the table structure is only there. Okay, you can see only structure is created, but there is no data into this particular table, right? So now how to add the data into this particular table, that is the challenge for us, and we can do that, though not nothing to worry on that. But you can see the employee number, which column which we have entered, there is a pk mentioned here. It is nothing but primary key. It is a primary key into this table, and the data type is also mentioned over here. Similarly, it is for gender, character varying is will be the data type. So in this way each field will be entered and it will have the same data type over here. All right, or the data type which we have mentioned while creating our table. The next thing is what we have to import, or we have to add some data into this particular table. So how to do that? Okay, so to do that, what we will do, I will just right click on HR data. Okay, so this table we will right click on HR data, and there is option called import or export data. I will just click on this, and it is asking do you want to import or do you want to export? But we want to import, so I will just click on import. Then it will ask us to locate your file name. So this is an option here. So first you have to download this particular HR data file. I will mention the link for you to download in the description box. Download it, place it on desktop, or place it on a drive where you can go and find it easily. Okay, and it is a CSV file. Okay, it should be a CSV file when you are uploading, because you can see the format or the data type of this, the extension of this file should be CSV. So I will just go ahead and click on this, and from here you can locate that file where it is present. So for me it is present in D drive, and this is my file. So I will just select this and click on open. Okay, so you can see this is my file. Then the format should be CSV. Okay, you don't change anything here. Go in options. Okay, the next thing is whether your particular column have headers. So you have to check this box. Okay, make sure you have checked this box, that is header is there. Okay, we have some headers, because if you see our data, they have headers over here, right? Then headers is there. Then what is the delimiter? Delimiter is nothing but CSV files are in such a way that there is a delimiter there. Those are comma separated value file. Okay, CSV full form is comma separated value. So our delimiter will be comma and nothing to change over here again. And you have to click on columns over here. Okay, so these are the columns which will be imported into our that particular table. Make sure these are the same columns which are there in this query which we have fired first to create a table. Okay, don't make any spelling mistake while creating this. Don't mention any spaces. If you want to add a space over here, make sure it is by using an underscore. Okay, so this is some thumb rules. I hope you know that. The next thing what you have to do is just click on OK. Okay, so it will take some time to complete this process and you will get this message that process has been completed, and you just have to close this. Okay, and now I will just again run this query. Okay, and I will just run this query and you can see my data has been populated over here, right? So that is, it has imported the data, and you can see there are 1470 rows are there. So whatever rows we had into our this particular sheet, so if you can see, when I click here, there are 1471 rows. But why it is 1471? Because it is calculating this header as well. But if you only check this particular rows, it will be 1470 itself. Okay, so now we have imported our data. So to import data, there is one more way how to import the data. If you are getting some error while doing this particular what we can say operation, by right clicking and importing, there is one more query, and I will show you that query. So I have this query over here. So this is the query. I will just show you. So this is the query, that is copy. Copy is the function from where you have to copy, and what is the name of that particular file. Okay, so the file name is nothing but this is your file name, that is HR data. From where you have to copy, from where is nothing but this is the path. Okay, that is D drive, and the name of the file. Okay, then delimiter is nothing but, what is the delimiter means, is it a comma separated? Yes, so we have to give in single quotes a comma. See, extension is CSV, and if it has headers, you just have to write your header and you have to run this query. I will not run this query because we have already imported our data. And if you are getting any error while doing this function, that is import export data by using this way, you can go ahead and run this as well. Okay, and it automatically your data will be imported over here. So I will just delete this for now, and you can see this is our data which has been imported. So now next we will start testing our Tableau and Power BI reports. So I will show you first the Tableau report and what we have to test over here. So here you can see at the top, these are the KPIs which we want to test first. So what is the employee count, attrition rate, active employees, and average age. And with respect to filters, okay, by using these filters, if you can see I operate some filters. Okay, with respect to that, these values are changed. These also we have to test with our SQL. So with respect to department also, whenever I'm clicking on this particular department, the values are changing. With respect to education field also, these values are changing. So with respect to these filters, if we are getting the correct value in HR, this particular report, we have to test that. And similarly, I will show you the Power BI report as well. So this is the Power BI report. The same KPIs we are using here, same value are there with respect to whatever it is there in the Tableau report. And whenever I'm using these filters, okay, with respect to that, these values are changing. Similarly, when I'm using this filter, these are changing. So we have to change, or we have to, test this in what we can say SQL. So what I will do is I will just first focus on this particular report because all the values are same which are there here. Same values are there in Power BI. So what I can do is I will just first go into this sheet. Okay, so this is the sheet where these values or KPI values are being developed. So first is what employee count. Okay, on the employee count, how we have to find out how it is calculated. Okay, so employee count is nothing but you can see this is the value from where this employee count comes. That is sum of employee count. So there is a field called here employee count. So we have just taken a sum of this particular and we have got this value there. Same we have to follow the approach in SQL as well. So we will go in our this particular PG admin and I will write a query and I will explain you once I will run this query. Select sum of, we will be using same sum of employee count. Okay, so make sure you are writing this field name same whichever it is there or with in our what we can say database. You can see employee count, the same field should be written over here, and from where we want the name of our table is HR data. Okay, so this is our query. I will just select this query. Okay, select just entire query and just hit run, because if you are hitting run right now, it will give an error because it will try to run these both queries. So just select this query and then run this. Okay, so you can see we have got the value as 1470. Okay, which is exactly matching with this value which is in the Tableau report, and same value is available in Power BI as well. Okay, so the first value we have got which is matching with respect to that. Now we will go into our dashboard and let's see, we want it to be displayed only for high school. Okay, so now you can see I've applied one filter over here, high school. The same filter now we have to apply in our PG admin as well. So how to do that? So in this query further what we will write, so in PG admin, if you want to give any condition, any filter condition, we have to use where clause. Okay, so very important clause, that is where clause. So where clause, what does where clause does is it will see the filter condition row by row in that particular table, and it will return us the result. Okay, so now what we want is education is what, high school. So in our case education is what the field name is education, and it should be what is equal to, and it is a hard coded value, so what we have to write it in single quotes, and we will name it as high school. Okay, so we want it for high school and we will run this query. Okay, so you can see for high school, if we are applying a filter for high school, it is giving us 170, the same count we are getting here as 170. Okay, so in this way we have validated this as well. Now what we will do, I will just hit this query. You can go and validate it for others as well, you will get the same value. I will not waste much time on this. Okay, you can see for associate's degree, for bachelor's degree, just make sure that whatever the spells here you are using, it is used here same. Make sure that you are typing same here into this particular single quotes. Okay, so that you have to take care, otherwise it will give an error. Next thing what we will do, when I'm clicking on this particular department, right? So let's say I'm clicking on sales department. You can see in tooltip the department name is sales. Okay, so when I'm clicking on this particular department, this value has been filtered, which is 446. Now I will add one more filter over here. So what I will do, I don't want to run this condition. So what I will do, I will just comment it out. I will just put two dashes over here. This is nothing but it will comment out and it will not run this query. Okay, and I will add one more where condition over here, that is where my department. Okay, so for me the department, in if I run this query, you can see the name of department here is this particular, the same name you have to type over here, where department is equal to what, it should be in single inverted comma sales. Okay, so sales same name should be applied over here as well. Okay, and now we want to see sum of employee when the filter is for department is equal to sales. So I will just run this query and you can see it is 446, and when I see in Tableau also it is 446, right? So you can see similarly you can see it for R&D. Okay, now my department is R&D. I will change this department to R&D. R&D. Okay, and I will run this query. So you can see it is 961, and here also you are getting 961. So whatever we are showing in Tableau report as far as per our filters and whatever the data, it is showing correct because we are running the same, or we are validating it with respect to SQL queries. Okay, so these queries are important. All right. So now don't delete this query immediately because we have to prepare some test document as well. Okay, so what you can do is you can go ahead and paste this query somewhere. Okay, prepare some like this document. Okay, so like for employee count you are using this query, for attrition count you are using this query. So make a document in such a way, and which will help you to create a test document later. So just copy that query, paste it over here, so it will be saved somewhere. Okay, and if you want, I will add this document in description box. You can go ahead and download this and you can use it for your purpose as well. So all queries are mentioned over here. You can use these queries, if you are getting any error, you can use these queries and go ahead and run it over here. All right, so now let's go to our Tableau report back. So now what we will do, we will try to run it. I will just deselect this and we will try to run it for education field. Okay, so let us run it for medical. Okay, so I have clicked on medical and you can see values have changed again. Now we will again fire our SQL query. So for now I will just comment it out. We don't want to run this query. So whenever you are commenting this out, this is nothing but whenever you're using this particular two keywords, those are nothing but dash, two time dash, this particular will be not included into your query. Okay, so now we will be using another where condition, where education field. Okay, so where education field, so this is our column name into our database. Okay, so where education field is what? Medical. It should be medical. Okay, so now for medical, let's see what is the data. Okay, so you can see there is something wrong. So I have misspelled this. Okay, so you have to correct this. The education spelling is wrong. So it's education. All right, so now let's run it. So you can get, you see, you have got the query as 464. Okay, so you can see the value is 464, which is correct. All right. And if you have noticed one thing here is that you can see the name of the column which is returning into this query. It is sum. Okay, if you want to change this name and you have to give as alias. Okay, you have to write as, and alias is nothing but for temporary, for output purpose, you have to change the name of this column. Okay, so whatever it is there here, that is sum, it is giving us an output as sum and it is giving us the value. So for output purpose we will change, for temporary purpose for, yeah, temporary purpose we will change the name of this particular column. We want it as a, what, employee count, or we will just name it as or we will name it as employee count itself. Make sure it is underscore. Okay, and now let's run this. You can see this column will be changed. Okay, you can see this is the employee count, right? So now most of the time what we have to do is, whenever we are creating a test document, we have to take screenshot of this particular output. Okay, because your client or your manager or your developer may ask you that you have ran the query, show me the output. Okay, so you don't have to go back again, run the query. You can just take a screenshot of this particular query from here. Okay, so from here to here you can take this particular screenshot, you can save it somewhere, you can add it in your test document as well, to show whenever there is some questions are asked, like whether you have done the testing correctly or not. At that time you can show them this particular screenshot, which is will be there in the test document as well. All right, so this was the first where we have tested this, and as I've told you, copy this, paste it somewhere. All right, now I will just delete this and we will go ahead to our next query. Okay, the second one, if you, I will just deselect this, and you can see we have to find out the attrition count. Okay, so now we have to see what calculation we have used in Tableau for this. Okay, so I will just go into this sheet, and this is our attrition count, and you can see this is the attrition count, that is sum of attrition count. So let's find that field here. So this is what attrition count, and just let's see what calculation we are using here. So what this calculation is saying, that we want to find attrition. If attrition is yes, then 1 else 0, and then we have taken the sum of this 1. Okay, if attrition is yes, then 1. Okay, and we want it to be 1 only, because sum of all the zeros will be again 0 only, so we want it for sum of 1. So we will write this query in such a way that in our PG admin, that it will give us the correct result. So let's move back to our PG admin. So I will write a query in such a way that select. So instead of sum, I will write here count. Okay, I will write as count of attrition. So name of our column is attrition. See, we want count of attrition from HR data. Okay. So if I run only this query, so you can see I will get entire count of this particular attrition, that is 1470. It is nothing but a total number of rows present in our database. But what condition we have applied over in this particular calculation, if you can see, if it should be S. Okay, so now we will change our query in such a way that it should be yes. So we have to apply a filter, that is by using where condition attrition. It should be what? So make sure you are writing it correctly, the spelling. It should be equal to yes. Okay, so Y is capital and S. Okay, now run this query. And when you run this query, it is filtering out those attrition. Give me only those attrition where attrition is S, and whenever it is yes, give me the count of this particular attrition. Okay, so we have some modified some query. We have not used sum here, we are using count, but the meaning is one and the same. So in this way we are getting our attrition count, and you can see if you match it with our Tableau, you can see it is 237. And when we go back to our dashboard, and let's say you want to see it for some other what we can say, some filter, let's say for doctoral degree. Okay, so attrition count is 5. So let's see if it is, we are getting here 5. Now here what we have to do is we have to keep this where condition also. Okay, and we have to, this is one condition, we have to add one more condition here. So in that case, both the conditions should be required. In that case, we have to use and. Okay. So we want this also, and we want one more condition, that is what? That is education should be what? Education should be equal to what? Doctoral degree. Okay, mentioned it as doctoral degree. And now we will run this. So you can see you have got 5. All right. So in this way, we are testing this. That is for doctoral degree, it will be 5. So I will just click on all now. And now let's say we will find it for R&D. Okay. So when I am clicking on R&D, you can see it is 133. So instead of education, we are removing this. I will remove this and we will write here as department, as the department should be sales. Oh, sorry, R&D. Okay. So it should be capital, because whatever it is there on double quotes, it will be a case sensitive. Okay. And you will run this, you will getting result as 133, and same result we are getting here. Similarly, you can try it for the education field as well. I will not waste much time on that. Okay, so let's say what you have to do is you have to see it for department as R&D, and in that particular R&D you have to see it for this particular what we can say for medical. Okay, so now we have applied two filters. One is R&D and one is education field as medical. So in that case, R&D should also look right, and we will add one more filter over here, that is education field is what? Education field must be equal to medical. So we are applying multiple in different scenarios. You have to test our reports. Okay. So there will be multiple scenarios. When you run this, you will get 47, and we are getting the correct answer over there. We are getting the exact match to our record. All right. So in this way, you have to add or you have to work on our data. So let's say we are adding one more filter here. Let's say we have wanted to see for only high school. Okay. So now in this everything for high school, and in for R&D, and in that for medical. Okay. So we have applied one filter, that is for high school. Next filter we have applied for R&D, and next is for medical. So we are getting attrition count as 9. So we will need to add one more filter over here, that is it should be satisfying all the conditions. We have to use and operator, make sure. Okay, I hope you are understanding this. And what we, that is education is high school, that is education is, that is field name is high school. Okay, so now let's run this, select this and run this. So you can see we are getting 9 as an output. Same we are getting here 9. Okay, so in this way you have to test the scenarios with multiple filters, because these filters will be operated by your client. Okay, so now let's clear these filters. Okay, so in this way you have tested our second KPI as well. Similar way we will be testing our third KPI, fourth and fifth KPI. But in this case I will not add, or I will not spend much time on adding these filters. You can try those filters by yourself. Okay, now next is what? Attrition count. So let's go in our sheet. Okay, so we'll go in our sheet, and this is our attrition count. So let's see how it is calculated. So here is the attrition count calculation, and we will edit this. Sorry, attrition rate. So you can see the attrition rate is nothing but the division of attrition count, uh, uh, division of attrition count divided by sum of employees. Its calculation is attrition count divided by sum of employee count. So now this is something we have to write in our SQL. So now how to do that? Let's see. Okay, so I will just delete this. So I will write first my query and I will explain you. So first I will write select statement. We want to retrieve the data. So select, it should be what? Division of attrition count. So we have to find out the attrition first. But to find out the attrition, I will write one more select statement here. Okay. Select count of attrition, which we have written before, that is attrition. Same query we will write here, count of attrition from HR data, where attrition, it should be what? Attrition count is when attrition is equal to yes. Okay, we have written this query before only. Same query we will be using here, attrition, and we want this to be divided by what? I will write it down. It should be divided by sum of employee count. So sum of employee underscore count. Okay. All right. So, and we want, so for this select statement we are taking this from HR data. So for this also we have need to write from where, from HR data. So let's see if it is running. Okay, so we are getting 0.66, 0.1612. Okay, so 0.1612, but we want it in percentage. So to convert this into percentage, we have to multiply it by what? 100. All right. So now to multiply this by 100, so what I will do, I would add one more bracket over here and one more bracket over here. Okay, means what? This entire thing is in one, what we can say, one parenthesis, and we will multiply this by 100. Okay, now we will run this query. So you can see 16.122 is the value which we are getting, 16.12. All right. So I will explain you how I have written this query. Like, what is the logic behind this particular formula is, it is what? Attrition rate divided by sum of employee. But how to find attrition rate? If you want to find attrition rate, we have to write one more select statement. So if see, if I run only this much query, okay. So I've selected only this query, and when I run this, you can see I'm getting 237 as an output. Okay. So from here we are getting 237 as an output divided by what? Sum of employees. Sum of employees is nothing but 1470, right? And we are multiplying it by 100. Getting or not? So this is one more query which is giving us an output as 237, and when we run the entire query, we are getting it as 16.12. All right. So now one more thing over here. So we are getting here number of decimal points. We want only for 2 decimal point. So whenever you need it to be for only 2 decimal points, you have to use a round function. Okay, so round function, what does it do? It converts this particular entire numeric value up to 0 decimal points or 1 decimal points, whichever we specify. Okay, so for this what we will do, we will write round function, but it should be written outside the bracket. So I will write as round. Okay, and for round function I will enter one bracket over here. Okay, so this is one bracket, and this is the value which we want to round it. So I will mention over here comma, and you want to round it to how many figures? I want it to be 2 figures, and I will end this bracket. Okay, so this bracket has been ended, and I will run this query. So you can see we are getting value as 16.12. All right, so this is the value which we want to show from our reports. That is 16.12 is our value which is giving us the correct. All right, so now let's go back to our dashboard. And if you want to say, let's say you want to see it for department R&D. Okay, now what we will do, we'll add one more filter condition here, which is department should be what? Department should be what? Sales. Okay, yeah. So we are looking for sales. And when I run this query, okay, so we are getting the value as, oh, oops, okay, so department should be sales. Okay, so department should be sales here. Okay, so this is for outside query sales, but we have to also enter here also. Why? Because this is giving us 237, but here also there should be department, na? So what we have to write here, and here also we have to enter this, that is department is equal to sales. So we will make it Control C and we will paste it here. Department is equal to sales, and we will run this query. So you can see you are getting 20.63. See why I have done this, because see whenever I'm running only this much query, for that is attrition is yes and department is equal to sales. When I run this query, you will get the count as 92. That is, this is the 92 count we should get here, and that we have to divide it by total employees. That is nothing but 446. So to get 446, we have written this as for external query, and for internal query also we have passed one department is equal to sales. Okay, so that is the reason we have entered 2 times department. One is for attrition and one is for count of employees. Okay, so in the same way, if you want to test it for different scenarios, let's say you want to mention it for education field, make sure you are writing education field over here as well and outside as well. Okay, so this is for attrition rate, we have calculated this. Okay, so we will now test the next KPI. So let's see what is the next KPI. We will go into this sheet again, and the next KPI which we want to test is the active employee. So let's see what is the formula for this active employee, and this is the formula. So active employee is nothing sum of employee count minus sum of the attrition count. Okay, so we have to take the subtraction of these two particular things. So what we will do is we will try our queries. I will just delete this now. Okay, so I will write a query select. Okay, so we want sum of employees. So I will just take sum of employee count underscore count. Okay, and we want to subtract this from the attrition rate. Okay, so for attrition, when we want to read, like take the attrition, we have to write one more select statement because we have to take apply a where condition there as well. So select uh, attrition, count of attrition. So select count of attrition from HR data where attrition is equal to S. Okay, because we want attrition is equal to S. And for this particular, we want again one more from statement for HR data. Okay, and when we will run this, you can see we are getting our count as 1233. Okay, so this is the one which we needed. All right, and when we see with respect to different filters, now we will add gender filter over here. We will try to see with let's say for male. Okay, so when I click on male, the active employees are 732. So I will just add a condition over here, and remember that whenever you are applying a condition here, so let's say where gender is equal to male. Okay, and when I run this, you can see you will get something different results. Okay, so we are getting as a null over here. Okay, so why this is because we can see here. So let's see first what is the male looks like. So male, so here we need it as capital M, right? So if we can see in our database, M is capital. So when I run this, so you can see we got the number as 645, but here you can see it is 732. So why? Because we had to add this particular where field or where clause here as well into this particular statement. Because if we can see, if you run this test statement, you're getting as 237, but when we select male, it is 150, right? So for this to get 150, I will write one more clause here as where one where is already written. So we'll just add and gender is equal to male. Okay, so now let's run this query, and you can see we are getting the value as 732, which is the correct value. And when I run this particular query, the output of this query will be, you can see it is 150, which is this value. Okay, so in this way you have to work with different filters. Okay, so this was our fourth KPI. Let's go ahead and calculate the average age. The average age calculation is nothing but we are taking average of age field. So this is very straightforward. So we will just take average of age. Okay, I will take here average of age from HR data. Okay, and I will just run this query. So let's run this query. So you can see we are getting 36.92 as an age, but we want a round figure which should be converted to 37. So again, we will use a round function over here. So I will take a round. Okay, and I will add a parenthesis over here. So age is this 36.92 something values, and we want that particular to be converted to, or we want it to a perfect integer value. So I will just mention here 0 because we don't want any decimal point value after that. So I will just run this query, and you can see I've got 37 as an age. Okay, and if you want to change this particular field name of this column, you will add here as average underscore age. Okay, and when you run this query, you can see the value, the name of this column is average age 37. And again, I told you to maintain the document, you will take the screenshot of this particular, just delete this. Okay, take screenshot of this particular data and you will get the value with respect to that. Okay, so this is how we did for this particular KPIs. So now we will test our next chart. Now we will start testing our chart. So this is our first one, which is the attrition by gender. Okay, so now we will be testing attrition by the gender. So I will just delete this, and we are going to test what? Attrition by gender. Okay, so to test attrition by gender, what we will do here. So we have the attrition by gender is nothing but when we go and see this chart, we have taken gender, okay, and we are showing the sum of attrition over there. And attrition, we know how to calculate the attrition. So what we will do is we'll select, we want gender, okay, we want gender to be shown and attrition, okay. So we want count of attrition, okay. So we want count of attrition from HR data, okay. And we want condition as, because we are showing attrition, so we need to mention that attrition should be yes, okay, because whenever we are taking count of attrition, it should be yes. Okay, attrition is equal to S. All right, attrition is S. And see, always remember, whenever we are taking any dimension or any field and we are taking one aggregation with respect to any field, other field, and when these are in combination in SQL, always remember we have to use group by clause. Okay, because count of attrition is an aggregated function, and it should be, aggregation is nothing but collective or collection of different numbers, but it should be collected on where it should be collected on gender. And aggregation is nothing but grouping, so we have to use group by clause over here. Always remember, whenever there is an aggregation with respect to one dimension or any field, you have to use a group by clause, and whatever we have called here, the same should be written over here, that is gender. Okay, and group by gender, and we will just run this. So you can see we are getting our output, as you can see, for female it is 87, right? For female it is 87, and for male it is 150. Okay, so we have got this particular what we can say answer. So if you want, let's say you want that male should be at first row and female should be at second row, so in that case you can use order by clause. Okay, order by clause, and order by, it should be on what, on count. Okay, you want this count to be at descending order, it should be in descending order. So by default, if you are running this, you will get the same output. Okay, because by default, whenever you are not writing anything with order by in front of that, whether it is descending or what, by default it will be ascending. But if you want it to be descending, you have to mention your descending clause, that is DESC. This is nothing but a descending. And when we run this, you can see 150 at top and 87 at below, the same way which we are mentioning over here, that is male and female. And once again, if you want to see it for, let's say, for only high school, for high school it is 50 and 11, and we will add one more clause over here. And always remember, whenever you are using this type of statements, so group by and order by, so the execution of queries in such a way that first where clause will be executed, then group by will be executed, and then order by will get executed. All right, so if there is a having clause over here, the execution will be first where clause, then group by, and then having clause. So these questions are asked for you in the interview, like what is the execution sequence of the query? First is where, then is group by, and then is having clause. Okay, so one more and statement we will add here, that is filter, which is education should be, okay, it should be high school. Okay, and when we run this, okay, so count of attrition, select gender. Okay, 1 second. So this is working. So education is high school. Okay. All right. So this is working now. You can see uh, I have not selected the entire query. I have just selected it for year until year, and I've ran this. So it was giving me an error. So I'm just selecting all the query. And now you can see it is giving the male as 20 and female as 11. So you can try it for other filters as well. If you're adding one more filter, you just have to add one more filter, like let's say department. So in this way, you will be adding over here the filter. All right. So this was for this particular chart. Now we will next move ahead with department wise attrition. Okay. So we will just change this, and it is now what, department wise attrition. If you go in this chart, so it is actually a pie chart, where what we are showing here is the values you can see here. These are the values, which is nothing but the attrition count, and the percentage you can see here, it is the percentage of total of all the attritions. Okay, so out of all additions, you I mean to say that uh, R&D have how many attrition percentage, sales have and how many percentage of attrition, so that we have to determine. So first, what we will just find these numbers, and we will go and find out this percentage. All right, so we'll write a query in such a way that select, we want department. Okay, and because it is a department wise attrition, so we will see the department, and we want count of attrition per year. Okay, so this is count of attrition, and we want it from HR data. Okay, where always when we are counting attrition, attrition should be yes. All right, and we have to group by it by department, because as I told you in last query, whenever you are using aggregation, we have to group it. Okay, you can see we are getting HR data, sales and R&D, that is 13392 and 11, and you can see 13392 and 11 are with respect to R&D. If you can see, it is 133. Again, if you want it in descending order, I will just copy this, Control C, Control V, and we will make it as descending order. Okay, so you can see we will get an output as, so order by clause. So we will order it by this, and you can see we are getting in descending order 13392 and 11. The next task is to show the percentage over here. Okay, so now percentage is nothing but those are percentage of total. So how we calculate the percentage of total here? So percentage of total is nothing but, let's say we want to calculate percentage of this, so it is nothing but it will be 92 divided by the total attrition, that is what, 237. Okay, similarly 12 divided by 37, similarly 133 divided by 237. This will give us the percentage wise, department wise attrition. So now we have to divide it something, right? So now one more, we want one more column over here, so that is comma. I will just write it over here. So I will, we want division, right? So division of what? Again, we will take count of attrition, because we want it to be attrition divided by total attrition. Okay, so first we will take attrition. Okay, and we want it to divide it by total attrition. Okay, so total, for total attrition, what we will do, we have to write one more clause over here, that is select count of attrition. Okay, select count of attrition where, first it should be from HR data, where attrition is equal to again S. Okay, and we will try to run this query. Okay, you can see we are getting value right now as 0, because we have not converted it into percentage yet. Okay, because we have to multiply it by 100. What we have done is we have taken the count of attrition, and for this count of attrition it will take this as yes, because it is working on this select statement, and we have we have written one more select statement. If you only run this much query, you can see you will get 237. Okay, so each time we will be dividing it by 237. Okay, and now what we have to do, and in this case it will be taking as department wise attrition, so this will give us department wise attrition, that is for sales and likewise. Okay, so now we'll again run this query. Now next thing, what is, we want a perfect value over here. So what we will do, I will just add a brackets over here, and I will multiply this by 100. Okay, because we want to determine percentage, so we have to multiply that particular to 100. So when I'm multiplying, still we are not getting this value over here. So the reason behind this is we have to convert this particular data type. So now it is big integer, we will convert it into numeric data type. So to do that, what I will do, I will make this as cast. Okay, so cast is nothing but, we are converting this particular data type by to something other, right? So I will cast it as numeric. Okay, I will make it as numeric, and I will just take it to second one, and I will just run this query. Okay, so it is throwing us an error that there is an error near this cast as numeric. Okay, so let's check the brackets. Okay, so what we have to do is, this bracket is actually for this multiplied by 100. So what we have to do is we have to just control X, and it should be inside this bracket. Okay, so because, okay, one second, it should be inside the bracket, because this cast should work only for this particular bracket. All right, now let's run this. And if you can see, yeah, so we have got the percentage as 56.1138.81 and 5.06. The next thing what we have to do is, if I go back and check our dashboard over here, so it is up to 2 decimal points. The values are correct. So if you see for R&D, it is 56.11. Here it is 56.12. So now next thing what we have to do is, just we have to, round this particular calculation. So for round, what we will do, so we have to round this entire calculation. So round, we will write outside this brackets. I will just name it as round, and I will add one bracket over here. And after this particular calculation, when it gives us the value, it should be rounded at to 2, right? So it will be 2 over here. Okay, 1 second. So it will be 2, and I will just close this bracket, and I will run this value, and you can see we are getting this particular value, and you can see this particular column has been given as round. So if you want to change the name of this as, you can just mention it as, and we will name it as PCT. PCT is nothing but percentage of total, and it is a temporary name which we are giving, an alias name. Okay. And when we run this query, you can see the percentage of total we are getting, and the values are matching with respect to what we have here. Again, let's say we want to see it for female. Okay. So now for female, if you want to check, and so we have to put here as gender is equal to female. So it should be female. Okay. And let's see if it is giving us the correct result. Okay. So now it is giving us there's some different results are there. Why? So 43, 38 and 6. This is correct, but the percentage are showing different. Why? Because we have written one more statement over here. And here also it should be what? And gender is equal to what? Female. Because in this also we are need to convert our values to, or attrition values with respect to female. And now when we run this, so you will get our 49.43, 43.68 and 6.90. All right, so in this way you have to work on your queries. Any filter which you will add other than this here, you have to add it over here also, right? That attrition, gender, whatever your filter is adding over here, you have to add it over in this particular clause as well. All right, I hope this, now we are moving up to some advanced level SQLs, but I hope you are understanding, because this is very important. And cast function is very important. Cast function is used to change the data type of this particular, right? So first initial the data type was float. Okay. So when we ran this, it was giving us zero value because it was float. Now we have converted to a perfect numeric value, or it was giving us big integer. We have converted it to numeric value, which started giving us the what we can say the fractional values as well. All right. So we will test our next chart, and the next chart is number of employees by age group. So I will just open this particular thing. So this is nothing but these are actually bins. All right. And so this is something hard to test, but we will see how we can test this. So what we can do is I will just show this parameter and I will make it as 1. Okay. So we will test it for single only. And if it is correct for single, it will be obviously correct for the other bins as well. So we will test it for single bin, and we will just change this font. The font of this is not visible, so I will just format this somewhat, and we will change this to black. Okay, and this as well. We will just format this axis as well, and I will change this to black. All right. So now we will test this particular report. So for this, what we will do, I will just delete this, and I will write that statement. Select, I will choose age, and here we are showing sum of employee count. We are not showing the attrition. So we will take here sum of employee count. Okay, sum of employee count from HR data. All right. And we will group by. Okay, so always remember you have to group by when we are using anything with respect to aggregation. Group by age, and we will also order by age. Okay, and just we will try to run this query. So if you can see, we are getting for 18 age, it is there are 8 records. Okay, so just let's see what's wrong here. So first we will go into our dashboard, and here we have selected the female, so just deselect this first. Okay, so female filter was applied. Now again we will go back to here, and we can see for 18 it is 8. All right, so for 18 it is 8, for 19 it is 9, and similarly you can check the others as well. So if you go down, and for 60 it is again 5, and for 44 it is uh, 32. So in this way we can test our this particular chart. All right, so this was for this chart. And if you obviously if you want to test it for, let's say, different departments, so if let's say we are changing testing it for department as R&D, so you have to add a where clause here. Okay, where department is equal to R&D. Okay, and when I run this, you will get a particular values with respect to that department. Like for 5, for 18 it is 5, then again for 19 it is you, right? So in this way we will get our values. All right. Now next what we will do, I will test these two, but I will take this at last because it looks something complicated, but we will do that. So now we will go ahead and we will test this particular, that is education field wise attrition. Okay, so we'll go into this chart. And if you can see, it is nothing but we are taking education field and we are showing it with respect to chart, that is attrition count. So it is also simple. So we will just write the query here as select, we want here education. All right. And we want here it is education field actually. Okay, it's education field. Then we want count of attrition because we are calculating here attrition. Okay, attrition. And always remember, when we are using attrition, we need to mention attrition is equal to yes, because for attrition count we are taking attrition as yes. And we will group by education field. Okay, so this is important, group by education field. And we will order by count of attrition because we want in descending order, and we will mention it as descending, and I will try to run this query. Okay, so select education field. These are we want from HR data. We want it to be retrieved from HR data. We will run this. So you can see we are getting these values as 89, 63, 35, 32, 11, and 7. Same values we are getting. Again, if you want to see it for a department, let's say, okay, we want it to be seen for department sales. Okay, and let's run this. So you can see for sales department, when I choose this sales, the values are 35, 29, 14, 10, and 4. 35, 29, 14, 10, and 4. So we are validated this chart as well. Okay, the next one is attrition by rate for different age groups. So when I choose this particular chart, you can see we have taken age band. Okay, and we have divided with respect to, you can see here there are gender. And what we are taking, we are taking attrition count itself. So what we will do to this particular, again we will I will just modify this query itself. Okay, so here instead of education we want here age band. Okay, and we want here gender as well. Okay, because we want to distribute it by gender as well from HR data. And we will remove the sales, we will do it later. Okay, and we will control C and control V. Okay, we want to order it by yes, here as well we will order it, okay, by this only, and we will run this. Okay, so we are getting these values over here, right? So we have to just match it with respect to this. Okay, so now first if you see here, the age band here is for 25 to 34. If you can see for this age band the value are 69 and 43. So you can see values are for 25 to 34, the values are 22. So your values are showing different because this filter has been applied. So we just have to remove this filter first. So yeah, now the values are 69 and 43. For 35 to 44, the values are 14 and 37. That is 14 for female, because you can see this is male. That is this purple color is for male, and the orange one is for female. So orange female, there are 14 and 37. Similar, you can check other as well. But with respect to that, we also want to show the percentage over here, right? So the same way the percentage we determine for gender, we will be determining the percentage here as well. So I will just press 2 times enter here, and we will be using comma. And similar way we have to calculate the percentage, because percentage we are calculating it with respect to the total, that is attrition divided by the total attrition. So we need to here count of attrition again. Okay, so count of attrition, and we want to divide it by again with respect to the total count, that is select count of attrition. I will just copy this, control C, control V, from HR data, where, okay, so where attrition should be equal to yes. Okay, so again when we run this particular query, you can see we will get a zero value here, right? So again what we have to do, first we have to multiply it by 100 and we have to cast this. Okay, so first we will cast it. Okay, I will cast this. Cast means nothing but we have to change the data type, right? So the data type of this should be changed. Okay, we have to convert it into numeric. So we have to cast this particular value as a numeric. Okay, the numeric is nothing but a data type. Okay, so I will just take this on second row as well. So we have casted this as numeric, and we will take a bracket outside again here as well, one bracket, and we will multiply this by 100. Okay, and just now run this query. So you can see we have got the values, that is for 25 to 44, the value is 18.14. Okay, so for 25 to 34 value is 18.14, and for male it is 29.11. Similarly, you can check for other, the values will be matching. Let's say we will check it for this particular under 25. The value is 18 and 20, and the percentage is 7.59 and 8.44. All right. So again, if you want to convert it into round, so what we will do, we will use a round function over here. We will add one more bracket over here, and after this we will name it as comma for 2 decimal points. And this particular all the column should be given as name as percentage of total. Okay, and we will try to run this particular query. So you can see the name has been changed and the value are converted to 2 decimal points. Okay, so in this way we have tested this particular chart as well. So now we will test our next and last chart into our report, that is a job satisfaction rating. And if you closely observe this chart, it is actually where we are taking showing role in vertical, and that is in and job satisfaction columns, that is satisfaction rating maybe 1 2 3 4. I mean, total number of employees are giving particular ratings, right? So if you can see in the particular chart, we are taking sum of employees. We are not taking the attrition count over here, right? So now to test this, what we'll do here is write a query over here, and this is the query which we will be using. And we are using a cross tab function here. Cross tab is nothing but in SQL, in PostgreSQL, it will pivot the what we can say the table, and it is actually a table function. And we are writing a select query into this with respect to what we want in row and what we want in columns, and what should be it counting. And with respect to that, we are using group by and order by. And this total query, we will be mentioning it as an the outside query for select, that is with respect to city is nothing for cross tab, it is and alias or the function which we are taking over here. And when we run this particular query, you can see we are getting this particular values. Okay, so you might be getting an error whenever you are running this particular function, and this error is nothing but you will be getting an error that the cross tab function is not available. Okay, so to avoid that, okay, so to avoid that particular error, you what you have to do is you have to run this particular function first. Okay, you have to run this query first. Okay, run this particular query. I will give you the document for this. You can copy that and you can run this query first. Okay, so now it says that it already exists, right? The table function is already exist for you. It will, when you run this, it will say that yeah, now the table function is available, and then you can go ahead and run this particular query. Okay, and then it will give us the output over here. And if you compare this output with respect to our, you can say for healthcare it is 26, 19, 43, and 43. Similarly, for it is for 1 2 3 4 job ratings. Okay, so in this way we have tested our reports. The same reports are available in Power BI itself. Everything is same, only just the thing is like this particular chart is different with respect to Tableau. So for this particular chart also, I will show you how to create a query for this. So in this chart, what we are showing here is we are showing the with respect to age band total number of employees, right? We are showing number of employees. We are not showing the attrition over here. So we can see in this particular visualization, we are showing sum of employee count, right? You can see here sum of employee count and age band and with respect to gender. So similar simple thing what we will do here, we'll use an age band, comma, we will be using a gender, comma, and we want as sum of employee. Sum of employee underscore count from HR data. All right, and we have to group by. Okay, because whenever we are using aggregation, we have to group by with whatever we have taken over here. I will group by with this, and also I will order by this particular value, and we'll order it by descending order. Okay, and I will run this particular query. So you can see we are getting these particular values, like let's say for 25.25 to 34 age group. So for 25 to 34 age group, we are getting the value as 337 and 217 for male and female. Similarly, you can check for other as well. And if you want, you can check for different filters as well. Okay, so this was an extra chart which is different in Power BI other from Tableau. All right. So for this also we have tested. So now we have completed our data validation. All the reports are successful. All have everything has been passed. All right. The next thing what we have to do is we have to create an document, that is a test document. So I will show you how a test document looks like. So I will just open a test document which I have already created. So this is the test document which you have created, and here it shows the client name as data tutorials, then the report name, who is the developer for this particular report, and for that particular Tableau reports, who is the tester name, that you will be the name tester name, who is the project manager, and what is the tool we are using here is the Tableau Desktop, right? And then we have a test number, sheet name, query, test result, and query mark. So first we have checked for employee count. What query we have used here? We have used this query. When what was the test result? Whether it has passed or failed. Okay, so it was passed. And what was the query mark? So we have got the exact match to whatever record we have, right? So in this way, we have added each every point over here, how you will be testing the report and what query you have used, right? And what was the result of that particular outcome. All right. Last, you have to apply the test results. So total, we have did 11 test results. Out of 11, all they have been passed. 0 failed, 0 blocked, and 0 not executed. Blocked is nothing but whenever you are doing a testing, some of the development is still in progress, so you cannot work on those particular testing, right? So it will be blocked for you. And not executed is nothing but you are not finding the solution, or it is not executing correctly, it is pending yet. So that is for that particular not execution. Okay, so this was all about these things, and I will add this particular test document for both Power BI and Tableau in description box. You can go ahead and download. You can use it in your resume as well, in your portfolio as well. And this test document you will send to your manager, to your developer, to your QA developer, senior developers, or your client, where they will come to know that yeah, this report has been tested and it is ready to use in production. All right. So in this way, we test our Tableau and Power BI reports. So this is just one report. So, and we had, fortunately we have only one column, but there will be multiple columns where you have to use joins. So I will create one more video where you have to use some join clauses over there. All right. So I hope you have liked this particular video. If you have learned something from this video, you can go ahead and like this particular video, subscribe my channel, and turn on the notification bell so that you can get a notification whenever I'm adding these particular videos. So see you in the next one. Thank you guys.